Welcome back. This is 2 of 2 for the nonprofit, making the right steps to establishing your own 501c3 or C4 nonprofit. Now, we're going to be diving into part 2, which is the status and filing. We're going to be getting into some more specific details on how to start the process and actually start communicating with the IRS and establishing your own organization. Now, if you missed out on part 1, don't hesitate. Go ahead and click on that part 1 and it'll take you back to that first episode, and we'll review the beginning parts and topics and issues that evolve around creating your own nonprofit. So, nonprofit filing. So the IRS website has very specific instructions as well as how to file online, or unless you want to do paperback. But before we go into it, I always stress about creating a nonprofit or organization. Always create a business plan. Why? It helps with establishing the vision and mission. Kind of gives you that goal orientation to really shoot out for the future. As well as finally, and how we emphasized before in part 1, the structure. Getting your board of directors together, finding the right leadership as your CEO and ED, and all the little functions that come in between. Finally, financial structure. Now, as a nonprofit, you would try to consider saying, well, nonprofits don't make any money, or nonprofits are not making their own money. Well, that leaves the question, how do you keep your lights on? So there are functions on how to gain new donors, how to apply for grants, and how to acquire the finances needed to run the business and continue on the organization. So definitely create a business plan and create that function in which this is how this entire operation would work. This is the leadership we'll need. This is the support needed, as well as this is how we keep the ball running. Now, to decipher specifically in that financing as well as operation aspect of a C3 or C4, these are clear differences. Now, the very similar ones is that both organizations under the C4 or C3 classification are federal exempt for income. So that means there's no need for taxation. Any income that comes into the organization is kept there, and there will be no taxes placed upon it. Now, on the C3, how the IRS classifies itself financially is it considers it more of a private foundation or a public charity. You're looking at endowments, foundations that really own up to their own finances, or are able to gain their own type of grants. On a C4 section, you're looking at organizations that have a mission around social welfare. So these organizations on the C4 are providing some service or goods to the community for economic development, for example, or education. Under C3 and C4, you have a leeway in lobbying. This is the aspect in what we spoke about in part 1 around speaking with state agencies and connecting with the federal government. On a 501c3 function, there are very strict lobbying restrictions. Most lobbying restrictions are that the lobbying restrictions implies that under 501c3, lobbying restrictions push for it to be reported over to the IRS. And such any lobbying needed or has to be performed under the C3 will have to be reported over to the IRS. As a C4, under the C4 function, they're free to lobby as long as it aligns to the cause, vision, or mission of the organization. C4s are not allowed to just nilly-willy go out and start lobbying in different functions. It has to co-align to it. These functions have recently been played around with when it comes taking consideration super PACs now going into the next cycle of voting in this country. Under C3, again, speaking about that in the political world. Now, speaking about that in the political world, C3 organizations may not support or provide monetary support to candidates and political campaigns. Not a dime can be allowed as long as you're under that C3 filing. Under C4, though, the complete opposite. Under a C4 organization, one organization can support monetarily candidates and political campaigns. Why all super PACs are now a C4 classification because they're allowed to do so. Now under C3, donations are fully deductible under federal content. So what does that mean is that any donor, big or small, can go into the C3 classified organization and donate as much as they want or as much as they feel like they need to. Under C4, though, the donations, why it's under quotations, donations would be considered as an expense. For example, a donor to a C4 organization can utilize it as an organizational opportunity to market themselves. So they can utilize a donor's monetary support for marketing expenses. So the donor itself may provide monetary support for a C4 organization as long as that donor can classify that as some type of expense over to the C4 organization. So it's very tricky, but it creates this check and balances between both, for they both are federally exempt, but how one's organization can maneuver within their own state, federal, and local communities around what the mission and vision is. And again, can't stress this out more. In the part one, we'll be taking piece by piece how it trickles down to even the filing processes for the IRS. As simple as that, the next couple steps is just really keen on details. It does seem like a very short understanding of the entire organizational aspect, for it is just a quick review. I totally recommend anyone who are really wanting to go bit by bit to check out the U.S. Internal Revenue Service, or the IRS, on their filing of 501c3. I would also recommend connecting with state agencies and state websites around functions of the C3 and C4s around the states. But remember, to connect and to expand reach to your community and build. As you see in our website and in our social media pages, we're continually growing and expanding on our content around marketing through the online aspect, the social media aspect. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to always connect and expand your world and community with us here. Visit us on our Facebook, our Twitter, and our website. All of those links, as well as some of the information you saw in this presentation, will be located down there on the description box. Please also leave your comments. Let us know what you'd be interested in, or if you have any other questions. Until then, see you next time.